Welcome, everybody. This is Dr. David Jockers, and today we're talking about 7 simple strategies to buffer and stabilize your blood sugar. You know, as a clinician working with thousands of clients, I will tell you, getting somebody's blood sugar in balance is absolutely one of the most critical things to helping somebody get well, to reduce inflammation in the body, to reduce overall damage to the different tissues of the body. So blood sugar balance is super critical, and it's really the first place that I start when I'm working with clients is getting that blood sugar in balance. And so today in this webinar, we're going to talk about the problems with sugar. We're going to talk about insulin resistance. We're also going to talk about the best diet and advanced strategies that are simple to apply in order to keep your blood sugar stable so you can have more energy, less inflammation, less pain, be able to sleep better, and just more overall peace and ease as you go about your daily life. And so if you don't know me, my name is Dr. David Jockers. I'm a natural health doctor, and I speak all around the country at various churches and organizations. I'm also in a lot of big online events, such as the Truth About Cancer, the Longevity and Anti-Aging Project, the Detox Project, and many, many, many others. And I specialize in helping people improve their energy and their digestion. I used to struggle with chronic fatigue, adrenal fatigue, and irritable bowel syndrome. And I've really not only dramatically improved my own health, but also I specialize in helping people do the same. I also work with people with all different types of chronic diseases, in particular cancer, autoimmune diseases, and things like irritable bowel or leaky gut syndrome. You can also see this is my beautiful wife, Angel. She's the light of my life. And so she's an amazing woman, brings tons of love and energy into my life. I absolutely just have a blast with her. And then my little boys, Joshua and David. And there we are at the Grand Canyon. So that's a little bit about my family and who I am. And let's jump into the 7 strategies to get our blood sugar balanced. So you can see here, what is sugar and what is it about? Okay, so sugar is obviously sweet, and it's what we find in nature. But the problem is, and really in our society, we just overconsume sugar. We consume tremendous amounts of sugar on a daily basis. And we know sugar feeds cancer, diabetes, arthritis, inflammation, yeast, and insomnia, and most other diseases. And the problem with sugar is when we consume it, it gets into our bloodstream. And because when sugar is elevated in our bloodstream for a long period of time, the sugar molecules, the glucose, will bind to enzymes, and they will create something called an advanced glycolytic enzyme. It'll create a sticky protein that's an advanced glycolytic enzyme. If we break that word down, advanced is A, glycolytic is G, enzyme is E. So AGE. So obviously, what does that do to our body? It ages us. It accelerates the aging process in our body, and that's really what happens when we have high blood sugar. So our body has this incredible hormone called insulin. And insulin's job, just like this picture is showing, is to literally open the door, open the cell receptor, and allow sugar to get into the cell. And so here it is, it's opening up the receptor. The problem is that insulin also triggers inflammation in the body. So when insulin is elevated, it will trigger inflammatory processes within our body. And over time, if we continually have to elevate our insulin up or raise it up dramatically because we have all the sugar in our bloodstream, then our cells start to create insulin resistance, where the actual cell membrane and the receptors are more resistant to the key going into the door and unlocking it and allowing the sugar molecule to come in. So if we're insulin resistant, then our pancreas, where insulin is produced, has to produce more insulin. So it puts stress on the pancreas. We produce more insulin. The more insulin we have, the more we elevate inflammatory pathways in our body. And we end up leading towards accelerated aging and chronic disease. So the key is this. The key is we've got to keep insulin under control and keep our blood sugar under control at the same time. It's so important. But here's what the issue most of us have. And I know for myself, I struggled with sugar addiction for a good portion of my life. And so we eat sugar. We like it, we crave it. Obviously, it has addictive properties. In fact, when we consume it, as you can see here, dopamine, which gives us this really good, feel-good feeling, It's the same neurotransmitter that's released when we do things like cocaine, is released, and it makes us feel good, and it can be addictive. We also get this massive insulin, and over time, our blood sugar levels, they rise and they drop. And that's the issue. So we had high insulin levels. It causes fat storage, and we crave the sugar high. We love the high that we get and the big dopamine release. We absolutely love that. We crave it. We feel like we need it. So we constantly have this cycle that we're going through where we're hungry. We have low blood sugar. We're craving sugar, and we consume it. We get high blood sugar, and now we've got the dopamine release. Now we have high insulin, inflammation taking place. We lose it. So it's this constant cycle. And I know for myself, even today, I stay away from sugar, not only because of the negative ramifications, but also because I can easily fall into this cycle if I allow myself to start consuming the sugar. So it's very important that we keep this under control. Okay, 10 hidden sources of sugar that we didn't even know about. Well, you know what? One big one is actually smoothies. We're going to talk more about healthy smoothies, but most people don't realize this. If you go into Smoothie King or a place like that and you consume a smoothie, I mean, these things are so loaded down with sugar. In fact, I used to work at Smoothie King when I was 20, and the number one seller was Angel Food. And it had 75 grams of sugar in the 24 ounce, I think it was a 20 ounce container. And a lot of people will get the large size, a 32 ounce. And so it's unbelievable. You've also got a lot of yogurts that are flavored with that have extra sugar in them. We've got protein bars and energy bars. People will show me these energy bars and they've got all these greens and superfoods in them. But I look at the label and it says 22 grams of sugar in it. And I'm like, wow, this thing right here is actually an anti-nutrient. It doesn't matter how many superfoods are in the protein bar, the energy bar. If it's got a lot of sugar in it, like more than, let's say, 10 grams, then it's a massive sugar bomb in your system that's going to create blood sugar imbalances, chronic inflammation. So you got to watch out for that. Special sauces, for example, if you see, if you're at a restaurant, you see glazed, like glazed chicken or glazed duck. Glaze at a restaurant is short for sugar enriched, right? Basically, they just have a syrup of sugar around that meat product or whatever it is, glazed potatoes or something like that. So watch out for that. Also, barbecue sauce is another one. So watch out for that. A lot of sugar in those. Fruit juices. So even if you go to the health food store and you get like Odwalla green juice, it's kind of the same thing as the energy bar. A lot of times the first or second ingredient is apple juice or pear juice, and it's just concentrated sugar. Orange juice, it has vitamin C, but it's so much sugar in it that we really aren't going to uptake the vitamin C well, because vitamin C and sugar compete for uptake. They both depend upon insulin to get into the cells. So basically, when we consume something that's high in sugar, we're actually depleting our cells of vitamin C. So fruit juices that are loaded with sugar aren't going to do us any benefit. Salad dressings, another big one. So I recommend using something like olive oil, fresh squeezed lemon, apple cider vinegar. That's a great one. How about whole wheat bread? Did you know that a slice of whole wheat bread has more amount of sugar than a Snickers bar? So a slice of whole wheat bread, more sugar content, or I guess you could say more of a glycemic impact on the body than a Snickers bar. Dried fruit is another big one. So a lot of people are eating granola. They're eating granola with raisins and different things like that in there. Dried fruit is concentrated sugar. And then watch out for a lot of your nut butters. So there are many nut butters that are very good. Some of them contain added sugar. So you've got to watch out for that as well. So these are hidden sources of sugar that healthy people, like I was consuming probably just about all of these when I was in my early 20s. And I thought I was doing well. I thought I was actually staying away from sugar, but actually I was consuming massive quantities of it. So here are the basic rules that we want to live by. Number one, reduce sugars and grains. We know that sugar or grains, breads, and different things like that, anything that turns into sugar is going to cause more of this inflammation in our body. We want to eat a lot of good fats. It's going to be things like avocados, coconut oil, coconut butter, coconut flakes, grass-fed butter. So butter from grass-fed cows, olives, olive oil. These are some of the best fat sources we could be putting in our body. We want to eliminate bad fats, things like corn oil, soybean oil, safflower oil, cottonseed oil. These are all toxic fats that are highly processed and very bad for the body. And we want to change the meat that we eat. We want to get rid of grain-fed animal products, and we want to be consuming grass-fed, organic, pasture-raised animal products, wild-caught fish. This is what we're looking to do with our diet. And this is kind of how it breaks down. So when we look at a food guide pyramid for an anti-inflammatory nutrition plan, this is what it should look like. We should have those good fats, like I was talking about, right at the base, and eggs would be included in that, even though they do have protein in them. They're not just a straight fat like coconut. They have protein as well, but they are a more concentrated form of fat. Antioxidants. So we want to make sure we've got a lot of non-starchy vegetables that don't break down into sugar. So that's going to be things like bell peppers, like cucumbers, celery, bok choy, broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, Brussels sprouts, asparagus, things like that. They're lower in carb content. We want a lot of herbs. So turmeric, basil, ginger, rosemary, thyme, oregano. We want a lot of these kind of herbs that are amazing for our body, really, really good for our digestive system, really good for reducing inflammation in the body. You want to make sure we've got a lot of those in our diet. Low glycemic fruit. So fruit in moderation that's lower in sugar content. So lemons and limes are great for that, as well as berries, blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, blackberries, low in carb content, low in sugar, as well as lots of antioxidant nutrients in there. So those are great. Clean meat. So we talked about the grass-fed, wild-caught, pasture-raised animal products. We also want to consume, but not in massive quantities, but we want to consume in moderation, healthy nuts and seeds, pecans, almonds, walnuts, Brazil nuts, pumpkin seeds, hemp seeds, chia seeds, flax seeds, all really good. Fermented foods. So we should be consuming these every day. Kimchi, pickles, sauerkraut, coconut milk yogurt, coconut water kefir, which is one of my favorites. I love Kavita coconut water kefir. So good for the body. Natural sweeteners. My favorite is stevia. We can also use things like monk fruit or maybe a little bit of raw honey. And you can see these recipes right here on the bottom. We've got our chocolate coconut cups that are flavored with stevia, no carbs in them, just amazing for the body. We've got a vanilla ice cream that you can see there in the center. This is awesome. You can find this recipe on my YouTube channel as well as on my website. So it's just vanilla coconut milk ice cream. And then we've got these little lemon coconut cookies that are awesome as well. They've got that cream filling or that cream top. They taste amazing. I think they're called lemon coconut cookies, something along those lines. But they are awesome. They're all very low carb, high in very good fats, will help our body to reduce inflammation and turn on the fat burning switch where we start to burn fat. So here are some different strategies we're going to go into to help our body buffer blood sugar more effectively and to help us burn fat and stop sugar cravings. One is air squats. So if you're going to eat sugar, if you're going to eat dessert, something along those lines, one of the best things you can do is crank out some air squats. Do it before and then do it shortly after. What that does, when we do this, and I would recommend doing about 20, even if it takes you a few minutes, you got to take breaks, do about 20 air squats. If you're more fit, you might even do jump squats. But basically what this does, squats are one of the best exercises for activating what we call the GLUT4 receptor, which is, in a sense, it's a glucose transport receptor. So it gets glucose, sugar out of the bloodstream into the cells, so into the muscle cells, without the use of insulin. So your body doesn't need to use insulin for that. So when we crank those out beforehand, our muscle cells will actually activate this GLUT4 receptor and help grab sugar out of the bloodstream. So this is one thing you want to do if you're going to have sugar. Do this beforehand, and then I would recommend doing it about 5 minutes after you consume that sugar. So that way, again, you get another activation of that GLUT4 receptor as more sugar is being released into the bloodstream from whatever it was that you consumed, the ice cream, the cake or the cupcake or whatever it was, the Snickers bar. So that way you grab that up and you're able to get that out of the bloodstream. So very important, air squats. Also doing something like lemon water or squeezing lemon on the food as well. Lemon, as well as apple cider vinegar that we'll talk about, helps reduce the glycemic impact of whatever it is that we're consuming. See, things that are acidic or sour tasting actually help our body to utilize sugar more effectively. So sugar has less of an inflammatory reaction, less of a blood sugar spike when we've got these sort of sour tasting types of foods. So lemon is awesome for that. Lemon's also really, really good, loaded with vitamin C as well as bioflavonoids. So it helps reduce inflammation in the body. So good for the body and the immune system. Apple cider vinegar, we talked about that. So take 2 tablespoons apple cider vinegar in water, or squeeze, let's say, half a lemon in water and drink that 15 minutes or so before you consume your dessert, your sugar recipe. And when you do that, you're going to notice that you are going to respond a lot better. You're going to have less blood sugar imbalances, and you're going to have less inflammation and just feel a lot better in general. So using apple cider vinegar is awesome. Also, if you ever have grains like rice or quinoa, ideally if you're having grains as a healthier grain like rice or quinoa, a gluten-free grain, always put apple cider vinegar on it. It will actually reduce, again, the blood sugar effect of the grain. And it actually tastes better this way. If you ever try apple cider vinegar on rice or on quinoa, it tastes so much better. It almost gives it like this mildly sweet flavor to it. It's absolutely amazing, and it will help with the digestive process because apple cider vinegar also contains enzymes. So the enzymes help to pre-metabolize the grain. On top of that, I put apple cider vinegar or lemon on my meat. Whenever I consume meat, I'm consuming one of these because, again, the enzymes, the acid helps to pre-metabolize it, so it takes stress off your digestive system. So you definitely want to be consuming these, using these. And you can really use lemon and apple cider vinegar either together or interchangeably, meaning that you can use lemon for something that you would normally use apple cider vinegar for, and vice versa. You can use the apple cider vinegar. Now, a lot of people ask me about lime. Lime is right in that same category as lemon. So you can use any one of those 3, lemon, lime, apple cider vinegar, all work really good for helping keep blood sugar in balance. They're also good for sugar cravings. Just drinking some lemon water or apple cider vinegar or water will actually help take away the cravings you probably have for sugar. So if you're craving sugar, go ahead, take 2 tablespoons apple cider vinegar and 4 to 8 ounces of water. You'll notice that those cravings go away. Fermented foods. So doing things like kimchi, coconut water kefir, sauerkraut, pickles. These things are great. So if you're going to have that higher carb dinner, you're having a sweet potato or you're having grains or pasta or something along those lines, always good to include some fermented foods with that. That will help pre-metabolize the carbs, which will make it easier for you to digest them. On top of that, it will help, the sourness will help to reduce the blood sugar effect, similar to what we talked about with apple cider vinegar and lemon. So definitely want to do the fermented foods. Also cinnamon. Cinnamon works great with smoothies and fruit. So in general, we think about, okay, I'm going to have a blueberry smoothie. We're not thinking, oh, I'm going to put apple cider vinegar in it. That would totally mess up the flavor. However, cinnamon works great in these cases. Same thing. I mean, we've got recipes for cinnamon buns, all different types of stuff like that on drjockers.com. And so using cinnamon with, let's say, a sweet potato will help to reduce the blood sugar spiking effects that come with the starch. So cinnamon's great with that. So if you're going to have a sweet potato, get really good fat with it. So grass-fed butter or ghee, put that on there, or coconut oil works good. Smother it all over the sweet potato and then add a bunch of cinnamon on that. That works great. If you're doing blueberries in a smoothie or raspberries, some sort of berry, put cinnamon in there because cinnamon works well with berries and will help to blunt the blood sugar effect, help to reduce inflammation and keep your insulin secretion lower and more stable. So you'll have, again, less inflammation, less effects, free radical damage, and less aging, accelerated aging in your body. You can also see all these other effects, right? Improves circulation, good for the immune system, helps with digestion. It's a carminative, so it helps with good, healthy intestinal contractions. So good. So definitely want to be using the cinnamon. And then, I've got a recipe book, my Supercharge Healthy Recipe Book, 180 recipes utilizing these ingredients and these strategies. In fact, I go through a lot in the beginning of this book. It's actually a nutrition book with added recipes because I go through exactly how to balance out your blood sugar. I also go through in detail strategies to help improve your digestion in this book, to help to improve your immune system. So you learn all about that, and then you get the 180 recipes full color utilizing these types of ingredients to help keep your blood sugar stable, improve your energy, burn fat, and reverse aging. Now, one key supplement that I'm big on, I always use this when I'm consuming more carbs. It's called High Energy Support, and it's got chromium and vanadium in high levels. It's actually a multivitamin. It's what we call pre-methylated, meaning that it's got the active form of B12, of folate, of different B vitamins to get into your system, absorb more effectively. On top of that, it has a number of antioxidants, and it has these trace minerals, chromium and vanadium. Chromium and vanadium are so important, so critical for blood sugar stability. So when you consume that, when you take this multivitamin with a higher carb meal, you won't have what we call postprandial blood sugar spike, meaning post-meal blood sugar spike. So if you combine a number of the different things that we talked about, you do apple cider vinegar or lemon or lime, you do some air squats before you consume a dessert, you take some of the high energy support, maybe you add cinnamon if it's appropriate to that dish, and then have fermented foods or fermented drink afterwards, like coconut water kefir, my favorite. My lime mint coconut water kefir is my favorite of the Kavita. So you combine these things, you're going to notice that you keep your blood sugar really stable. You're going to have less inflammation. You're going to feel a lot better. Your immune system is going to be stronger, and you're going to help prevent chronic disease and just feel better in general. Have the kind of energy, the kind of long-term sustainable energy that you really want. So that's a great supplement. My book goes through exactly what to do. And one other big thing is doing smoothies on a regular basis. I'm a huge fan of doing smoothies. I use my bone broth protein. There's an amazing flavor, vanilla and chocolate. And bone broth protein has the kind of amino acids that help support your joints, your skin, help you recover from stress. Really good for healing leaky gut. It also, because it's so good for the skin, it's actually made from joint cartilage, chicken joint cartilage. The same amino acids in there also line our skin. They make up our skin. It's collagen. So very important, and they help improve energy. They're really good for anti-aging, helping reduce any sort of visible signs of wrinkles and aging. Really good for your metabolism. They taste amazing. They've got a turmeric one for even stronger anti-inflammatory activity. There's a pure that tastes just like bone broth, vanilla and chocolate that I'll put in smoothies. Using something like organic coconut milk in there or avocado to thicken it up. So you're having smoothies, you want to make sure that you've got a good fats in there. This is a big mistake I see a lot of people make, is that they will have smoothies kind of like, in a sense, almost like what they did at Smoothie King, where it's just fruit and that's it. Or sometimes they're using a juice mix or something along those lines, and it's just really bad. So what we want to do is good fats, coconut milk, maybe avocados to make it more like a pudding. We can have some fruit, we can have some berries in there, good quality protein powder. We want to make sure we get the protein, the good fats, and then maybe a little bit of berries for some antioxidants and some sweetness. We can also add an extra stevia if we need to. The bone broth proteins, the vanilla and chocolate, are flavored with stevia and taste amazing. Very, very strong, really good flavor. So super smoothies, doing smoothies on a daily basis, one of the most powerful things you could be doing to help keep your blood sugar in balance, to help reduce inflammation in your body. But remember, it's got to be done with these good fats. It's so vitally important to remember. And so again, bone broth protein, getting that extra protein in there. If we are on a very low protein diet, we're much more susceptible to sugar cravings. So a good protein that's easy to absorb, like a protein powder, is a great way to go. My favorite protein powder is the bone broth protein. Just so many benefits to it. People tolerate it so well. It's very anti-inflammatory, hypoallergenic, so people have a lot of food sensitivities, do very well with this. And I use it for all my leaky gut, autoimmune cases, people with diabetes, people are trying to reverse chronic diseases. This is the kind of protein that we want to use. And you can find it right at my website, drjockers.com. So with that being said, guys, this has been a wonderful presentation. And wishing you guys all the best in the future, and go out there and start applying these principles and strategies that we discussed. And I guarantee you're going to see some great health results. So again, we talked about using the cinnamon. We talked about using the fermented foods. We also talked about using the bone broth protein. We talked about apple cider vinegar, lemons, limes. We also talked a lot about the nutrition plan, making sure we get the good fats in there, the antioxidants, the herbs, the berries, different things like that. And we went through that in detail. And then finally, we talked about the bone broth protein. Guarantee you're going to love that, adding that into your shakes. So guys, it's been awesome. Go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel so you can get on all of these live trainings and jump in here with me and really learn to take your health to the next level. Love you guys. Appreciate you.